Okay, we have found 4 wormholes here inside Usiros, which is just 4 jumps out of Mannar, giving us options. We found 1 to low-sec Derelict, 1 to low-sec Metropolis, 1 to W space. It would just be the icing on the cake if this 4th wormhole would connect us all the way back to, say, Aulbres. That would be... Oh. This is Bill. Bill wants to build a Cynabal and join the Angel Cartel cause in Zarzakh, but he's not making it easy on himself. This wormhole seems to lead to the unique and mysterious Thera system. This is interesting. We haven't talked about Thera. It is a wormhole space system which has NPC stations in it, the only one. And it has a completely unreasonable number of wormholes in it. It is sort of a Wild Wild West crossroads of New Eden. You pop into Thera, scan a bunch of wormholes, and pop out who knows where. And you cross paths with people from all different walks of life all across New Eden, using the system as their own sort of transit from point A to point B, as well as the very weird people that choose to live in there permanently. And of course, because it's a wormhole, you do have to worry about things like interdictor bubbles, and there's no local chat. It is very spooky. It's a huge system too, so you can't even reasonably like descan and figure out what's going on. It's hundreds of AU across. I'm not sure if it makes sense for us to pop our heads into Thera right now, although the 3 types of gas that we need do spawn in random constellations all across New Eden. This is crazy. And was not what I had planned for today at all. But maybe we move into Thera. Just for a little bit. We could bring a probe. We could bring a venture. We could bring a catalyst. Set our home station to Mannar. Fly in there now. Oh, you know what? I'm going in now. We are bringing in Percival the probe. Percival the probe with your sister core scanner probes. Welcome to Thera. Okay. There are a lot of signatures here, some of which are 200 AU away. And we're docking up at the Sanctuary Institute of Paleocybernetics. So we can leave our probe here, take the Pod Express back to Mannar, bring in a venture, and then maybe repeat that and bring in a couple more ships. Oh. We're operating without a map here. This is not in the plans at all. But this is going to be our new home base for the time being. Woo. A weird new chapter begins. This is a real pretty station interior. I have no regrets. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm happy to call this home for a little bit. Although our first course of action upon arriving at the Thera 12 Sanctuary Institute of Paleocybernetics is to self-destruct our pod so that we may wake up back in Mannar. Bringing in the venture. So the other thing about moving some ships into Thera right now is that we do have infomorph psychology trained, and you can install a jump clone in Thera. So no matter how long we decide to stay, if we have a jump clone planted there, it means we can always come back. And if we have staged a scanning ship in Thera, it means in the future, particularly at the time when we need to start consolidating all of our Cynabal materials that are currently scattered around New Eden, when we want to consolidate those back to Mannar, moving them through Thera might actually be safer than trying to haul them all the way through Losec. It'll certainly be faster. Or if we need to get around New Eden for any other reason, we can jump into Thera. We can, oh shoot, and there's a pacifier sitting on the wormhole. This is the kind of danger that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, that pacifier jumped back through. A pacifier is a covert ops ship, but it's one that has a much higher combat capability than a regular cov ops. Still, we do have the natural warp stability of the Venture working on our side. So I think we can probably sneak through here pretty safely. I'm also going to bookmark the exact location of the Thera wormhole. Because bookmarking the signature, as I've done before, has you land a little bit off of it. So by bookmarking the hole itself, when I'm warping to there, if I decide to transit more ships in and out, then I will land within jump range. So if there are hostiles sitting on the wormhole, I won't have to try and fly that 2,000 meters to where I need to be to actually jump through to safety, or, you know, relative safety. There could be just as much danger waiting on the other side. This is already feeling pretty dangerous. We're going to need to start burning some undocked bookmarks. I think I'm going to actually want to immediately self-destruct back to Mannar yet again. I want to bring a couple of combat ships in here. If we are making a completely unplanned move into Thera, let's do it right. Let's bring some ships. But danger or no, I want to be abundantly clear. I am having no second thoughts about moving into Thera. I'm mostly just mad I didn't think of this before. I mean, first of all, it's beautiful. Second of all, it's exactly what we need. Consider the situation that we're in at this point in our run. We've got more Azure gas we have to collect from Molten Heath or Wicked Creek. We've got Vermilion gas we need to collect from Hymatar or Fithabolus. We've got the Kildari ice that we need to collect from, obviously, Kildari Losec or Kildari Nullsec. We've got Cynabal build materials scattered all over known space. We've got to buy those reaction formulas and those blueprints from corporations spread throughout New Eden as well. And we still have to harvest moon goo. We have to ninja mine some moons, and the number of Athenors available if we park ourselves somewhere are always going to be limited. It can be a long wait. We'd really like to be traveling the whole of Losec and Nullsec just scanning around for Athenors. Really, to do what needs to be done here, we need to be everywhere. And Thera is everywhere. We moved from Aulbres back to Mannar, I know, just last episode, because it was closer to some of the places where we were going to be able to find our resources. But closer is like 6, 10, 15 jumps away. The thing with Thera is if you wait long enough, everywhere is one jump away. I actually used to live back in Thera for a while. A couple of years back, I was in Noir, New Eden's most venerable mercenary group, and Noir staged out of Thera simply because we never knew who was going to hire us. We never knew where we were going to need to be bringing our fleet next. And if you want to be able to project force like that with a fleet of, 20 to 30 subcapital ships, if you want to be able to bring a whole bunch of hacks and T3s to anybody's doorstep at any moment, there is no better place to do that from than Thera. And the exact same thing applies to our situation right now. This is going to be so good for us. I'm excited. But step one is blowing up this pod. So I want to bring Aaron the Atron into Thera because, among other things, he's going to be fantastic for burning the undocked bookmarks and such that we're going to need. And I'm loading him up, with the blueprint copies that we brought out to Mannar because we can build these blueprints in Thera as well. And we've got one of these warp disruption field generators still sitting here, so that's going to give us a head start on the construction, should allow us to build a backup probe if we need it. So we'll bring Aaron in, and I think that's probably not it. We'll probably come out for at least one catalyst as well. I think this wormhole still has some time left on it, so we might pop our head back out once we've moved our ships into Thera and just do a couple of little cleanup tasks and chores that I wanted to do in Mannar while we were there. We should hopefully have enough time left on this wormhole. It didn't say end of lifetime. No local, nothing on T-scan. This is nutty. Now there are 4 stations in here and all of them belong to the Sisters of Eve. There are slight differences between them. I just picked one at random when we initially docked. Now that we're actually moving stuff in, I need to check and make sure this station has the services that we need. Most importantly, we're going to be dependent on the station having some manufacturing capabilities so that if we do lose a ship while we're living in Thera, we are capable of replacing it. The main character's frozen corpse was sitting outside the station. It's foreboding. All right, we've got manufacturing here. We've got repair here. We've got reprocessing. Is it 50%? There are some reprocessing plants that offer very low efficiency. The highest efficiency any NPC station offers, I'm pretty sure, is 50%. And this does have 50%. Okay. This is a totally valid home for us. Now I'm going to burn an undock and a dock bookmark immediately. Make things quite a bit safer coming to and from this station. Ashimu, Executor, Anathema, all warping in formation of We Form Volta. Yep, there's going to be some danger and hostility in here. Absolutely. Let's bring in a catalyst. So I actually fit up several new catalysts because we had so many sitting here. There was Orion, the Railgun PvE catalyst. I also fit up Kareen, who I just flew in as a blaster belt routing catalyst, and Fiamma 5 as a PvP catalyst. And we're going to bring all 3 of them in. We're going to take advantage of the fact that we had so many catalysts sitting out here in Mannar because we don't have a catalyst blueprint we can bring into Thera, but we can just bring in 3 fully fit catalysts. Let's go. So I also noted that we have a spare probe hull here in Mannar, and having a spare probe in Thera is going to be absolutely essential. Priscilla, I don't know if we can really properly fit you up, but we're going to use you to haul in some extra modules, possibly for fitting, possibly just for reprocessing. We really do need to have as many minerals in there as we can. Okay, Priscilla the probe is packed full. 30 million ISK, the estimate for all of this stuff. I'm not sure where that value is coming from. I guess most of it's the Megacited Noxium I packed up. I hope we don't lose Priscilla, who's pretty defenseless. We do have a little bit of shield buffer and a warp core stabilizer, but the truth is that we've moved in our most important stuff to Thera. Priscilla here is just a whole bunch of junk that we shoveled into a suitcase being like, oh yeah, let's not forget anything. We might need some of this. We might not. We'll be fine if Priscilla dies, but you know, let's not. Okay, Priscilla made it into Thera safely, and now look at all the stuff in our hangar here at Thera 12 Paleo Cybernetics. It's like we've been living here for months. I'm not sure how useful any of this is going to be, but just having a full hangar already makes this feel more like home. Now, while that wormhole is still open, it's time to hop back into Hermes the Venture and head back out just to properly close down Mannar for the winter. Like I said, there's a couple of chores that I still want to take care of. Okay, so we have to make this quick. The wormhole still says it won't last another day, It doesn't say end of lifetime, which means we have at least 4 hours before this wormhole closes. So we're going to get everything done that we wanted to get done in Mannar in the next 3.5 hours, and then we're popping back into Thera before this wormhole closes behind us. Let's go. So while we're passing through Mormolot, we can take care of chore number 1 here at Mormolot 1 Concord Testing Facility. This, as you might recall, is the closest research station to Mannar. So it's where we were researching material efficiency and copying our blueprints. So we have here our thorax blueprint, safe and sound, and 3 of our 4 fuel block blueprints. The oxygen fuel block blueprint is already back in Mannar, and we've already built the fuel blocks we need. And the helium fuel block blueprint is researched to maximum efficiency, so we can bring that back to Mannar and start those fuel blocks building as well. But these last 2 fuel block blueprints, we haven't researched yet, because when we left Mannar before, we were so low on ISK that we couldn't afford to start the research jobs. So let's do that now. And then when we finally come back to Mannar to build our Cynabal, we won't be in the situation where we have to wait 8 days for our fuel block blueprints to research. Hydrogen fuel block to plus 10% material efficiency. Nitrogen fuel block to plus 10% material efficiency. Those jobs cost us 1.4 million ISK each, which is hardly a hardship since we're sitting at 133 million ISK. But there was a time when that 2.7 or 2.8 million ISK was out of reach for us. There's that job done. I kind of want to start copying the thorax blueprint as well. Making a 1-run blueprint copy of the thorax will take 2 hours, which is fantastic because that falls within the window that we gave ourselves to complete all of our Mannar chores. If we made a 2-run copy, that would be pushing it. So we're just going to do 1 run, and then if we decide we want to build a thorax in Thera, which would be madness, we will have that option available to us. Chore 1 down. Back to Mannar. Okay, so we've got the helium fuel block blueprint back in Mannar, and in fact, we can start building it right now. We only need 1 run of helium fuel blocks. 1 run makes 40 blocks, and we only need 5. It'll be done in just 12 minutes. Chore number 2, complete. Now chore number 3 requires us to hop in Lydia the Wreath. Chore number 3 involves planetary interaction. You might recall that before we left Mannar before, we had set up a PI chain in order to build what we needed in order to construct nanite repair paste, because we had acquired a ancillary armor repairer blueprint, which requires nanite paste, which is built entirely from PI products. Well, yesterday I set up Mannar 8 K-bar to do the last bit of on-planet industry required to construct the data chips, which are the hardest to build tier 3 component of nanite repair paste, and we now have 84. So I want to move the data chips and the rest of the nanite repair paste materials to our hangar in Mannar, so that should we ever decide that we actually do want to build that nanite repair paste, I don't have to worry about the planets in order to do so. And here we are, everything that we need to build 840 nanite repair paste, except that we don't yet have the BPO, and it costs 50 million ISK. So we're not doing this right now, but should we ever want to use this small ancillary armor repairer, we now have that option available to us. Chore 3 complete. Now chore 4 is a bit of a doozy. I'm sure you've noted that on our ingredients list, we've got all of our conventional minerals ticked off except for pyrite. It's just turned out that as we've been reprocessing loot and building things, pyrite has turned out to be our bottleneck. It was tritanium for a long time, but we scored a bunch of free tritanium from hauler spawns in asteroid belts. And so tritanium's no longer a problem, but our pyrite has not quite kept up. And we have sitting in our hangar here in Mannar, 171,000. So we need another 45,000 pyrite, and then we can move it into our Cynabal materials container and finally put up that tick mark. Now, when tritanium was our bottleneck, that was a huge headache for us because tritanium is not easily accessible in low sec, but pyrite pyrite you can just mine from low-sec asteroids. And this is why, as you may have noticed as we were flying out here, I've pulled the gas cloud scoops off Hermes the Venture and strapped on 2 mining lasers. I'm pretty sure that we can get pyrite right here in the belts of Mannar. Jaspit, Mexlon and Noxium, Omber, pyrite, and isogen, silvery omber, even better. And we also need to launch our drones to deal with these Serpentis troopers and Serpentis safeguards. Let's hope they can take them out before our capacitor runs out on our janky C5L shield booster tank. One Serpentis destroyer down. Good job, Warrior Ones. And the C5L tank is holding. And our mining lasers are doing their job. A lot of micromanaging here to keep our shields up without letting our cap run dry. We ticked into armor there for a second, but I think the threat will momentarily have been dealt with. 2 destroyers down. The Warrior should make short work of the Serpentis safeguard. And the Silvery Omber is rolling in. Now, 100 units of Silvery Omber gets us 95 pyrite, which means we're going to need to harvest more or less 45,000 units. But it mines pretty quickly. And how big is it? It looks like we're going to get 10,000 units per hold. That's not bad. That's just 5 mining runs. It's less than an hour of mining. Okay, that's 1 full load of pyrite. Let's dock up and run the numbers. Okay, so the Silvery Omber is 0.6 cubic meters per unit, not the 0.5 that I had napkin calculated looking at it coming in, which means we're getting 8,300 rather than the 10,000 I expected. So that is going to slow us down a little bit, but it doesn't change the plan. 4,768. Oh, I wasn't accounting for the reprocessing waste either. 4,768 units of pyrite from this load means we need 10 loads. I think we have time to do that. Before I head back out though, I am going to reprocess as much of this junk as we can that's still sitting in the hangar here in Mannar and see how much of the remaining 40,000 pyrite we can get that way. Okay, I've taken a very heavy hand with reprocessing ammo and modules that we're unlikely to ever realistically use, and I've got another 21,000 pyrite. That cuts our remaining mining time in half. And really cleans up our locker too, for that matter. After the belts. Now I was mining Silvery Omber before, but I noticed there's also Golden Omber here, which has 5% more pyrite. Let's get it done. Some new rats have spawned. 2 frigates which we can kill. We're going to turn on the afterburner and hope we can just tank this battleship. Hopefully while we're orbiting this rock, you should have a hard time tracking us. Okay, the frigates are down. We're going to put our drones on the Serpentis Commodore, just on principle, but I guarantee they will never break him. But I also think he's mostly missing me. In case he gets a lucky shot, we're going to have to be ready with the shield booster, but I think that we can just mine in peace while he's here. Misses us completely. Another full load of Omber in the can. Time to give that Serpentis Commodore a brief break from his embarrassment. Not quite sure what's going on. My frame rate has been dropping like crazy, and the CPU usage of EVE Online is like double what it was yesterday. We have mined the Golden Ombre asteroid completely out of minerals. Our hold's almost full. We're going to catch up a little bit more of the Silvery Ombre because it's right here. And maybe we can get enough to reprocess that last little bit of Silvery Ombre sitting in our hangar. And then, when we come back to the belt, I think there's another Golden Ombre asteroid that we can warp to. There is, over here. We'll bookmark that now. If you are coming back to an asteroid belt over and over again to mine specific asteroids, it's silly to keep warping to the just generic asteroid belt warp in when you can bookmark asteroids directly. The other thing you can do is you can make a bookmark like 200 kilometers above the belt and then warp to that, which will then allow you to directly warp to any asteroid in the belt. But that does involve, you know, one extra align step. So in our case, where we're not mining asteroids out too quickly, just bookmarking the asteroid probably makes more sense for us. 212,000 pyrite. One more load. One more run of Golden Ombre. I honestly feel a little bad for the Serpentis Commodore trying so valiantly to defend this belt. And we're just completely ignoring him. The guy definitely needs to train some turret tracking skills. Oops, got a little distracted there and missed a few shield booster cycles. But all is well. Everything's fine. $217,427 pyrite. And bam! Okay, time to get Hermes the Venture back into Thera, but first, I think I'm going to stop by the belt and harvest one more load. Hermes has that 5,000 cubic meter mining hold, and all it can carry is ore, and I do feel like we might want some pyrite in Thera before too long. Oh, I probably should have repaired while I was docked up. Well, too late now. I'm sorry, Serpentis Commodore. I promise, after this one last load, I will leave you alone. Let you patch up your poor bruised ego in peace. Oh yeah, start shooting at me. Good luck. Okay, we mined out that Golden Ombre asteroid, and there's a Thrasher Fleet issue on scan. I'm going to take this 5,000 Golden Ombre and say that's enough to bring into the wormhole with us. I don't really want to lose Hermes the Venture trying to scrape together 2,000 more Ombre, when Hermes is absolutely pivotal to what we have planned next. 2.5 hours out of our 4-hour wormhole safety window has passed, and we don't want to cut it close. So let's take a peek at our industry window. Our helium fuel blocks have finished building, and our thorax blueprint has finished copying. Let's go pick it up and then straight back into Thera with us, this time to stay. I think my client has actually crashed. I'm in Mormalot, but I'm seeing him in the Mannar overview. Now I'm seeing no overview. There it is. I dock up, and then I really need to reboot my client. I do not want to be flying through Thera with 0.5 FPS. What is going on here? Okay, I restarted the client, and this is much, much more responsive. We're going to grab our one-run thorax blueprint copy. It might be a little aspirational. I don't know how easy it's going to be to collect all of the minerals we need while living in Thera, but if we do end up in a situation where building a thorax in Thera is feasible, we really want to be able to do so. Now let's get back to our local wormhole before it closes on us. Oh shoot. I am going to tug up and finally repair the armor in this venture. Just in case. I don't think people are usually smart bombing on wormhole entrances in Thera, but if they are, or anything else like that happens, it would be an extremely embarrassing way to die. Now we're truly ready. We're space worthy again. Okay, here we are in Seydou Syros. Hopefully hopefully our wormhole is still here. Like I said when we came back out to do these chores, the fact that it said probably won't last another day rather than end of natural lifetime is code in game for meaning that there is at least 4 hours left before the wormhole dissipates. But there is another way it can disappear. Wormholes have mass limits, and if players had jumped 1 million large ships like Viators, like that guy we just saw there, through this wormhole, it could have disrupted. This wormhole had its stability critically disrupted by the mass of numerous ships passing through. Oh my goodness, that guy in the Viator. We're lucky it didn't close behind him. Huh. I am glad we got through there. That means that we are done. We are done shuttling things out of this wormhole. I was about to say, as we were approaching there, I was going to say the other possibility is that its mass limit is nearly reached and it will have become critically disrupted. And then I was going to say, but this is going to some, backwater low-sec system out near Mannar. Surely not that many people are passing through it. Oh. I am glad that we didn't try and push our luck and run a full 4 hours of chores out there in Mannar. 2.5 was almost too much. Here we are, docked up in Thera with our Aulbres, with our thorax blueprint. Let's reprocess that Aulbres now. And actually, while we're at it, let's reprocess these other super dense modules that we brought in. And let's see what our starting mineral supplies look like. This is not bad. We've got a bit of a leg up on bootstrapping manufacturing here in Thera, which is not a place I ever thought I was going to be building things in this run. Let's see. I don't think we can build a thorax yet. No, we have a ways to go. But we could build an Atron, we could build a Venture, and most importantly of all, we could build a probe. We could build 2 probes. Not quite 3. All right, we have a little bit of a safety net, which is good news because our tightrope right now is high. It has been a few hours since we finished moving all of our ships and modules into Thera, and this is the spot where the wormhole to Sanusiros used to be. We're in here for real. Combat scanner probes already on D-scan, but I'm not trapped in here with these people. They're trapped in here with me. It's time to start scanning some exits. Oh boy. What on earth have we gotten ourselves into?